John Sturky, a 55-year-old electrician, lived a life marked by a profound appreciation for the outdoors and a deep commitment to his family. A member of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers for over 26 years, John was not only skilled in his trade, but also possessed a warm and generous nature that made him a beloved figure among friends and colleagues. His adventurous spirit often led him into the wilderness, engaging in activities that ranged from hunting and skiing to surfing and camping. John's leadership skills shone through his role with the Federation of North American Explorers, where he mentored boys and organized camping trips, often connecting with the more challenging youths. John shared his life with his wife, Teresa, with whom he celebrated 20 years of marriage, and together they raised 4 children. The family's bond was strengthened through numerous shared adventures, and John instilled in his children a love for the great outdoors. His life was full of meaningful relationships and cherished experiences, with each thread representing his roles as a son, husband, father, and friend. The mystery surrounding John's disappearance began on January 4th of 2019, when he embarked on what was supposed to be a routine off-roading excursion in the San Jacinto Mountains, an area he knew well and often visited. With his 4x4 Toyota Tundra, John ventured into the mountainous terrain, a place where he had previously felt safe and at peace. However, this trip was different. As night fell and a heavy snowstorm swept through the mountains, John found himself trapped and alone. Despite his extensive outdoor experience and familiarity with the area, John Sturky vanished without a trace, setting the stage for a perplexing mystery that would captivate and concern all that knew him. On January 4th of 2019, John Sturky set out on an impromptu adventure that would soon turn into a puzzle shrouded in the snowy veils of the San Jacinto Mountains. That morning, the weather in the mountain region was deceptively calm, but as is common in mountainous terrains, conditions deteriorated rapidly towards the afternoon. By the time John initiated his journey, the skies were overcast, and the chilling whispers of an incoming snowstorm were noticeable in the air. John's last known activity was driving his robust 4x4 Toyota Tundra towards the Fuller Ridge trailhead, a popular yet rugged route in the mountains. Known for its scenic views and challenging paths, the trail was familiar for John, offering him the solitude and challenge he often sought. However, this time, his journey into the mountains was not pre-planned, nor had he informed anyone of his destination. His family and friends believed it to be just another day until he failed to return home. As dusk approached, the weather took a dramatic turn. The temperature plummeted, and what started as a light snowfall escalated into a severe blizzard, cloaking the mountain in white and reducing the visibility to nearly zero. The sudden shift in weather conditions was typical for this region, but catastrophic for an unprepared traveler like John, who found himself in the midst of a perilous whiteout. Unknown to his family, John was struggling against the elements. The lack of informing anyone of his whereabouts left his loved ones unaware of the brewing crisis. It was only as the hours stretched into days without any word from him that the unsettling silence began to raise alarms. The realization that John might be lost, or worse, started to take root, initiating a desperate search against the ticking clock and the unforgiving mountain weather. This mysterious silence marked the beginning of a perplexing case that would challenge the resources and resolve of everyone involved. The unsettling mystery of John Sturky's disappearance began to unravel when his wife, Teresa, faced the inexplicable silence following what she believed was a routine day for John. As hours turned into a worrying overnight absence, Teresa, fraught with anxiety, initiated a search for any clue that might reveal his whereabouts. Her first breakthrough came when she decided to investigate John's phone records, a move driven by desperation and intuition. These records led her to a startling discovery. John's phone last pinged in the remote and rugged terrain of the San Jacinto Mountains, a location he had not mentioned visiting. This crucial piece of information redirected the search efforts and intensified the urgency of the situation. Simultaneously, a seemingly unrelated 911 call had been made on the day of John's disappearance. This call was dialed by a group of off-roaders who had stumbled upon John after his truck became ensnared in a rough patch near the Fuller Ridge trailhead. These well-meaning strangers managed to help free the stuck vehicle. During their brief interaction, they noticed John's calm demeanor, but were unaware of the peril he was about to face as the weather conditions worsened. They reported the incident to the emergency services, hoping to secure some assistance for John. However, the dispatcher receiving the 911 call misclassified the situation as a simple vehicle disablement rather than an urgent rescue scenario. This critical error stemmed from the off-roaders' assurances that John had declined further help, leading the dispatcher to prioritize other emergency calls perceived as more dire. As a result, no rescue teams were dispatched, and John was left to face the rapidly deteriorating weather conditions alone. The initial misclassification of the emergency had dire consequences. As the storm intensified, John's situation grew increasingly perilous, yet the authorities remained unaware of the gravity of his situation. This oversight delayed the search and rescue operations, crucial in early hours of a disappearance in such treacherous conditions. The gap between John's actual needs and the response mobilized by emergency services created a critical window during which John was lost to the elements, his fate hanging in the balance while his trail grew cold in the snow-covered mountains. The search for John Sturky evolved into a massive effort that tested the resolve and resources of both local authorities and the community. The Riverside County Sheriff's Department spearheaded a series of extensive searches that included multiple helicopter sweeps over the rugged terrains. These aerial searches were critical, given the challenging geography and the severe winter conditions that blanketed the area with thick snow, making ground searches perilous and slow. Despite these efforts, the helicopters were unable to locate John's truck, largely due to the dense forest canopy and the intermittent heavy snowfall that obscured aerial views. The terrain itself posed significant obstacles. Steep ravines and thick underbrush made the mountainous area nearly impassable in places, further complicating the search operation. Amidst these challenges, the community rallied to contribute to the search efforts. Kathy Tarr, a local with intimate knowledge of the mountain trails, and John King, who had experience in search and rescue, became pivotal figures. Their involvement brought a nuanced understanding of the terrain and potential areas where John might have sought shelter or inadvertently strayed. As weeks turned into months with no sign of John, official efforts began to wane. However, the determination of Teresa Sturky, bolstered by Kathy Tarr and John King, kept the search alive. The community-led initiative refocused efforts on areas less traveled, theorizing that John might have sought a less obvious path in an attempt to find help. The breakthrough came when John King, revisiting areas previously searched, spotted the top of a vehicle wedged against a rock below the Fuller Ridge campground. This discovery reignited the search efforts at a time when official resources were beginning to pull back. The truck's location, in a remote part of the trail not visible from the air and difficult to access on foot, highlighted the critical role of local knowledge in such searches. Following the discovery of John's truck, the community and family-led searches continued with renewed vigor and purpose, despite the official search ceasing. They coordinated efforts, shared data meticulously, and persisted throughout challenging weather conditions, driven by a collective resolve to uncover the fate of John Sturky. This phase of the search underscored the profound impact of community involvement and the essential nature of hope in the face of adversity. The prolonged and arduous search for John Sturky culminated in a sobering discovery on a steep, secluded ravine on the northern slopes of the San Jacinto Mountains. It was a somber resolution to the mysterious disappearance of a man who had ventured into the wilderness only to vanish without a trace. The discovery occurred after extensive searches by both authorities and volunteers, highlighting the persistent efforts of a community united by hope and determination. John's body was found in a condition that indicated he had succumbed to the harsh elements of his environment. The recovery operation was challenging due to the location's inaccessibility. Positioned 400 feet downhill from the Pacific Crest Trail, the ravine was not visible from standard search paths and required specialized equipment to reach. A helicopter had to be deployed to retrieve John's remains, underscoring the difficult terrain that had isolated him in his final moments. The medical examination of John's remains was equally complicated. The primary challenge was the determination of the exact date of his death, which was crucial for both legal and personal reasons. Due to the advanced state of decomposition, the coroner's office faced difficulties in establishing a precise time of death. Initially, the date of death was listed as June, months after John had actually disappeared. This discrepancy had significant implications, notably affecting the life insurance benefits for the Sturky family. This issue sparked a contentious debate regarding the practices of the medical examiner's office. Teresa Sturky, John's wife, advocated vigorously for an accurate estimation of the date of death based on the condition of the remains and the last known activities of her husband. She argued that the evidence strongly suggested that John died shortly after his disappearance, not months later, as the official documents stated. The determination of the death date in cases like John's is often guided by both forensic evidence and environmental factors, yet the unique circumstances of his disappearance made standard procedures difficult to apply in his case. The discovery of John Sturky not only brought closure to a painful chapter for his family and community, but also highlighted the complexities involved in resolving cases of individuals who go missing in vast, unforgivable landscapes. The recovery operation and subsequent forensic investigations underscored the challenges faced by search and rescue teams and the critical importance of accuracy in medical and legal follow-ups in such cases. The resolution of John Sturky's disappearance brought profound emotional and psychological effects for Teresa and their children. The relief of finally knowing his fate was mixed with the deep sorrow of loss. For months, the uncertainty had left the family in a state of hope and grief, which significantly impacted their mental health and daily lives. Teresa often spoke of the anxiety that gripped her children, describing the immense relief they felt upon learning that their father had been found, yet also acknowledging the foundation of their lives had been irreversibly altered. The ordeal underscores the emotional toll of a missing loved one, where the lack of closure can perpetuate pain and uncertainty. The community's response to John's disappearance and eventual discovery was marked by an overwhelming show of solidarity and support. Local volunteers, many of whom had never met John, dedicated countless hours to the search, driven by a sense of community duty and compassion. Local authorities, despite the initial cessation of the search, resumed efforts following the persistent advocacy by the community and the Sturky family. This collaboration highlights the community's capacity to rally together in times of crisis, providing emotional and logistical support that proved crucial throughout the search and after John's discovery. Teresa faced significant administrative hurdles, particularly with the coroner's office and the insurance company. The misclassification of the date of John's death on official documents complicated the process of claiming life insurance, which is often critical for families dealing with loss. Furthermore, Teresa's request for detailed search reports were repeatedly denied, adding to her frustration and the family's financial strain. These challenges illuminated the bureaucratic obstacles that can exacerbate the difficulties families face following such tragedies. John Sturky's adventurous spirit and his profound love for his family were central to his identity. His legacy, characterized by his passion for the outdoors and his commitment to mentoring young people, continues to inspire those who knew him. The memories of shared adventure and his enduring influence on his children and community offer some comfort amidst all this grief. The ordeal brought to light several key lessons about emergency preparedness and the importance of community support in times of crisis. The Sturky family's experience highlighted the need for better coordination and communication in emergency responses and a more empathetic approach to the bureaucratic processes affecting grieving families. Moreover, the community's role in sustaining search efforts and supporting the family emphasized the invaluable impact of collective action during such critical situations. For the Sturkies, obtaining closure was not just a personal relief, but a communal achievement, reminding everyone involved in the resilience and strength that can emerge in the face of profound challenges.